الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. الحمد لله. Indeed, the praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him and seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from our souls, evils and our wrongdoings. He whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one can misguide. And he whom He misguides, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there is no true God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alone without any partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and his messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah. It's good to be here again at this university. Alhamdulillah, I was here 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, and Jazakallah for inviting me back again. I've just been asked to give a short account, really, of how I embraced Islam. And I think there will be time for Q&A. And we're also very short time schedule. Alhamdulillah, obviously this is the Islamic Awareness Week, and it should serve two purposes. One, for the Muslim to regenerate the energy, that desire to come back onto the right path. Because for the majority of the Muslim Ummah, we have now become part-time Muslims. And the main reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we see what is happening globally, is through our own mysteries, and because we, as the Muslims, have steered away from the right path. So, inshallah, this Islamic Awareness Week, inshallah, will help us to enlighten that spirit and get back onto the right path. And that path is to follow the Quran and the Hadith of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And secondly, inshallah, that as the week progresses, that you will have non-Muslim friends who come along and want to learn about Islam, or just a desire to hear what is going on. And that is also very important as well. We see now in the world that when people, or the Muslims, fail to adhere to the Quran and the Hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in words to the fact that He can and He will replace His people with a new nation and new people, as He has done in history. And we see it now in the world, that because of the disobedience of the majority of the Muslim Ummah, where over 75%, 80% of the Ummah is not even performing its 5 times Salah, which we will be accounted for and asked about when we leave this world. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing a new nation, He's bringing a new people into the forefront. These are the people in various colours that are rising now in the West. In fact, Islam now, it's not the Muslims saying it, it's everyone else, academics to other faiths, policymakers, can see now that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the entire world. And many are predicting, it's not the Muslims, many are predicting now that Islam within the UK will overtake Christianity as the major religion, some say clergy now embracing Islam. And in fact, many of the new people that are embracing Islam, alhamdulillah, are in fact women. Women, single women are embracing Islam. Some say 7 out of 10 people that embrace Islam are now women. And this is good news. And for me personally as well, my story began as a Muslim back in 2001. But we dissect and go back a little bit further. I obviously am from the UK, and I was born and raised up as a Christian. And later on in life, I was training, in fact, to become a Baptist Christian minister. But it was at that particular point, as I began to learn about the gospel of the Bible, that there were missing things. Just like with the theory of Darwin, Darwin also found missing links in his theory. One of the missing links in his theory was that intermediate fossil. And so I also was finding missing links as I began to study the Bible. There were many missing links. One, obviously, one key one was the Trinity. As a young child, when I went to Sunday school, the Bible at that particular time, I haven't seen one since, actually had the Old Testament, or the Torah, as well as the New Testament in one book. And as a Sunday school child, we were taught that God was one. And then suddenly we start to then be taught about the New Testament, Jesus, and now God is three. So one now becomes three, so suddenly there are three gods. And the Trinity is very hard to understand and digest, and in fact it's on that particular thing that many Christians now are leaving Christianity, because they also cannot understand the concept of Trinity. It was thrust down them, they didn't question it in a younger life, but now they have begun to question it, as I did. The other concept obviously was the crucifixion. There were no disciples of Isa, Jesus. We had to be pleased with him on the crucifixion. And in fact, there was no actual cross. They didn't have crosses in days. They had, in fact, T's. And then I started to study about how long it would take for someone to actually die being crucified. And there were many missing links there. And as you go through the Bible, if you put 6 Bibles in front of you laid out, no Bible is the same. Although we were told it is the Word of God. So it's common sense that if the Bible is the Word of God, then the Word of God should be the same in all the Bibles. If you put any 6 Bibles in front, they will all be different. So I began to question that. And then with the disciples, if you look inside the Bible, we will have, according to Matthew, the Gospel according to Matthew, the Gospel according to Luke. The word we have to highlight is according to. What does according to mean? Because we need to ask us, who is Matthew, who is Mark, who is Luke? We don't even know their surnames. We don't even know their chain, their history. We got stopped by the police and he wanted you to produce your driving license and you said, my name is John. Would the policeman accept that? So these were doubts that I was beginning to have. As well as Christmas, the 25th of December, we know that Jesus was not born on that day, Easter. Even in Jeremiah, how it's forbidden to have a Christmas tree, and then there's the pork, and then there's the wine, and there's the interest. And then we begin to then observe how Jesus and all of the prophets, priestly upon them all, used to pray, which is exactly how the Muslims pray. And so we began to have little doubts there. So these were the missing links. And at that point, even though I believed in God, I moved away from Christianity. So my background was as a wildlife biologist. And obviously, and you study ecology, the environment and wildlife, the universities, the colleges, the television, the zoos, the wildlife parks, all the study material, they continue to thrust, and we just mentioned the concept of Darwin. But I still accepted that there was a God there. And it was then, while I was lecturing in colleges in the UK, I went to South Africa at a conference on birds of prey. And I became one of the key biologists of a certain species called vultures, which were going through a major crisis at that point in the world and still to this day. And there in South Africa, I met the chief bird ecologist, Dr. Mohammed Chopra, from Saudi, and he was aware of who I was, and so he invited me over to the kingdom, and I couldn't fathom there was wildlife in Saudi Arabia. I thought it was just desert. But he took me to the southwest, beautiful mountains, very lush, with an abundance of wildlife. And he said, we've got major problems with wildlife and with this particular species. And so it wasn't through human disturbance, it was declining, it wasn't through pesticides or poisoning. Can you spend time with us? And so I started to work with the National Wildlife Department based in Taif. And I was travelling back and forth and lecturing out to Saudi. But at that time, I had no questions about Islam. There was nothing there at the forefront. There was no pressure coming from their side. I was hearing the call of the prayer, no issues there. I was watching the Arabs pray. That was very nice. I lived with the Bedouins in the desert, and I began to see their lifestyle and their personality and their kindness. That was certainly there. Then the events of 2001 happened as I sat in front of my television back here in the UK. And just around the corner was my next trip out to Saudi Arabia. And I got a call from colleagues, my Arab friends there. They were a little unsure whether I should make the trip. But I decided to go. And at this particular point, I was going to be there for about 1 month. To make you understand, I wasn't really afraid of what happened with 9/11. To give you an idea that Islam wasn't even in my thoughts, was I knew at that point that I couldn't consume alcohol while I was in Saudi Arabia, although I was sponsored by the government and they paid for the flights by Saudi Arabian Airlines. And I remember very clearly at London Heathrow Airport, I got absolutely, totally drunk before boarding the plane. How on earth they led me onto the plane when I couldn't even stand. So there's no way that Islam was in the forefront of my mind. I just wanted to consume as much alcohol as I could because I knew that I wouldn't be drinking 1 ounce for just 4 weeks. And so while I sobered up and I got there, and I was down in the southwest in the beautiful mountains, the Arabs appeared that they were concerned for my safety. And so my colleagues took me to meet the mayor and police protection, and I remember when I was in the mountains, so 8,000 feet up in the Saudi Arabian mountains, quite close to the Yemen border, in the most beautiful part of the world. 8,000 feet up in the wilderness with the clouds below me, adjacent to these birds with wingspans of over 6 feet, riding on the thermals. I'm at their level, just me and them. And bird standing this high. But occasionally in the mountains I would hear a four-wheel drive come down, very slowly stop, and a couple of Arabs in the garden would come out to me, greet me, and I would know that they were police, maybe secret police, but checking on my safety, make sure that I was okay. And they went off. And to get closer to one of the nests, I needed to go on top of a hotel, which was a closed hotel, but there was an Egyptian that was basically taking care of the hotel. And obviously now when I look back, this was where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was beginning to welcome me. Because this Egyptian began to want to teach me, for some reason, how to eat with my right hand. And I didn't want to eat with my right hand, I wanted to eat with a knife and fork. I think it was a plastic knife and fork. But he wanted to teach me how to eat with my right hand. And it was very difficult for me, but I got the knack of it. And he wanted to cook for me. And this was an Egyptian that was very poor. And he didn't want me to go to the village in search of food. And then, in my apartment in this small village, I stayed in the mountains with small masjids. And if you've ever heard the call of the azan throughout the day, and with the muezzin that gives the call, with the most beautiful voice, and this is penetrating you 8,000 feet up, and it's bouncing off the mountains. It's enough to break any human, and it is it's spiritual dynamite. And when I began to hear this at Fajr, I used to lay in my bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I used to hear the call of the prayer from the remote part of the mountains, in the small masjid, the deep finish, and then get closer and closer and closer, until it got to the masjid adjacent to where I was. And I had no idea what he was saying. I heard it for 3 or 4 years, but I had no idea what he was saying. But it was very beautiful, very emotional, and it brought tears to my eyes every morning, to the point I used to wake up waiting for the call of prayer. And I was begging this person not to actually end. His voice was beyond imagination, and I think I've heard it about once or twice since coming back to the UK. And when I hear the voice very similar, it just breaks me down completely. And since the years have passed on, you know, I've studied this in depth, and the amount of people that embrace Islam throughout the world, purely on the call of the azan, is unbelievable. I get very angry when I hear someone give the call of the prayer with an absolutely pathetic voice. They should not do it, because the azan is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calling the Muslims to prayer, calling mankind. And so if anyone's going to take up this position as the Muslim, he should have a beautiful voice. And so after that, I went back to the Egyptian, and I said to him, where can I get the Quran in English? And 2 or 3 days passed, and he said to me, no, I will get one for you. And there was a shop nearby where I used to get my bread and cheese, and there was a very big Arab with a big beard. And apparently he was the one that was going to give me this Quran. And one night, in fact it was the night before, I was due to drive back through the mountains and the desert in my 4x4 government vehicle back to Taif for a few days and jet back to London. That as I drew up to go to my apartment, a Cadillac drew up on my right. I was in a government vehicle with flags. And he had a beautiful English accent. He talked English, or he was Arab, and he asked me to sit in his car. Complete stranger. complete stranger just asked me to sit in his car. His name was Khalid, and he presented me with a Quran, with a translation. And this is about 9 o'clock at night. Totally pitch dark. And he says, should we go for a drive? And I'm in this position where I'm just magnetized now towards him. And for about 2 hours he's driving towards the Yemen border. Pitch dark at night time, a complete stranger, asking me questions about my life, knowing that I'm a biologist, and trying, obviously I'm aware at that point that he's trying to quote verses from the Quran regarding the natural world. And we can see the outlines of the mountains, and he's trying to get onto my wavelength. And after about 2 hours we drive back, and he said to me, where did you hear that call? And I said, it must be way in the mountains, but where I heard that call, and I burst out crying, was in that masjid just opposite my farm. We're in a remote village in Saudi. So he said, if I woke you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, just before you drive back, would you come to the mosque with me? I've never been to the mosque. And I said, yeah, of course. So he said, I'm not going to do it at 4 o'clock. He said, will you just put water over yourself? And I can pick you up. And in those few hours after he dropped me off, I couldn't sleep. I was restless. And he knocked at my door and he asked me, where would you like to go? And I said, should we go to that mosque? He said, let's go to the big mosque. And I didn't realise that behind the apartment was a big mosque, because I've never been to a mosque before. And he took me in and he said, just do what I do. So I followed him and the rest of the congregation in Fajr Salah. And as soon as the Imam had completed, then he turned to me straight away. All he said was, would you like to accept Islam? No ifs, no buts. Straight away I said yes, and done the Shahada there. And of course at that point the community knew me, and the community were so amazed that they didn't want me to go. But alhamdulillah, I drove back. Now this is showing you what people don't see. Because when I went back to the Arabs, the news had got to my head office, and the Arabs met me crying, actually crying, because they knew I'd embraced Islam. But they were a bit concerned, because they weren't there in the mountains. They're not quite sure what happened. They know I'm a Muslim, I know I'm a Muslim. But they said, let's go into Taif, let's go to one of the big Islamic institutes, and let's just do the Shahada one more time, can we? You're Muslim, you've said it, but it would make us feel happy to make sure that you're really happy. Can we do that? Okay. So they took me there, and we sat down with the big sheikh, and we went through the kalima in Arabic and English, everything. Of course, I declared it again. They said we didn't need to do it, we know that, but we really wanted to make sure that you were happy. And that was beautiful coming from them. And then, 4 days to go before going back to London, my supervisor, who sadly I've lost contact with now, Dr. Mohammed Shobrak, took me back into the desert, now as a Muslim. And there I lived and prayed with my fellow Muslim brothers, now in the desert. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with Islam at the age of 40, I just turned at the age of 40. And while in the desert, while we were sleeping one night, he asked me, would I like to change my name? And immediately in the desert, I said, please call me Muhammad. And it was there in the desert that he began to teach me how to make wudu. And we were still supposed to be doing the research, but my mind was completely preoccupied, and my whole life was changing in front of me. And on the fourth day, so on the third day after embracing Islam, he said, now, just before I put you back onto the plane, I will now take you to Mecca, and there you will do Umrah. And so, alhamdulillah, with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, within 4 days of embracing Islam, he took me to Mecca and then Umrah. And I remember the first time I saw the Kaaba, half and bursting out crying. And I saw, as I'm seeing now, different colour brothers with different skin colours and sisters. And that's what he said to me. That he said to me, Brother Muhammad, look at all these people. They're black and they're white and they're pink and they're brown. And they're all your family. This is your new family. These are all your brothers and these are all your sisters. And I remember that the Arab said to me, when you go home, Muhammad, you don't need to broadcast that you're a Muslim. Just let it come out naturally, slowly. And so after a time, after learning how to do the basics and go into the mosque, I suppose very much like when I was a Christian, I had that desire to study. I had that desire and passion. Now I need to learn about Islam. And I went to the scholars where I was living, and I said I wanted to go away and study. And I thought they would send me to an Islamic country, Egypt or Saudi, back to Saudi or somewhere up north in the UK. Although they decided to send me to a country called South Africa to study Islam. And I couldn't work that one out. There was a number of reasons behind it. One of them, obviously, because my background as a biologist with the abundance of wildlife there. In South Africa, although the Muslim population is only about 2%, you would think you was in Mecca or Medina. The Islamic universities are about the size of our hospitals here. The masjids are massive. 90% of the Muslim women are in full Ibadah, and the Azan is going 24 hours a day. Islamic channels, Islamic radio stations, the government also for Muslims. It's a completely different world. And so I can understand why the scholars sent me there. And there I studied for 3 years at the Islamic University with my wife. And then from there, I went off to also study in East Africa, back to Arabia, Asia, and then finished my studies back here in the UK. I was headhunted to work for a big Islamic institute in London, and now that's taking me now to become an Imam, Muslim chaplain within the Majesty's prison service, where sadly in the UK we're having a surge of young Muslim youth committing wrong, who are going into prison now for a number of reasons. So every prison now in the UK has to have an imam, a chaplain, and so that's taken up much of my time there. But alhamdulillah, as well, while in South Africa, I was able to meet the well-known and famous Ahmadiyya, and I learned a lot from him and his organisations, particularly giving dawah to the Christians and non-Muslims. And alhamdulillah, the blessings of Allah, I've learned under some of the world's famous high scholars. And just coming here today, I was here 2 years ago. In 2 years, so much has happened. Embraced Islam 2001, 2011 now, and it's only like coming here today. I just had a few moments to reflect in the car, and you begin to think, so much has happened in this short time. That's where I was, and that's where I am now. And I always say, if I look back, I think I'll be standing here in front of the Muslims as a Muslim with a big beard, talking to you. I would never have thought that. So there's been lots of changes in my life, some good and some not so good, many obstacles. but, you know, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with the most beautiful gift in the world. And there's one very pious scholar said to me, is that out of all of the millions of people around the world, despite anyone that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses, out of all of the millions of people in the world, for some unknown reason, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, that He has chosen you, as He does with all the new Muslims. And He's picked you from the crowd, and He has taken you towards Him because He has chosen you and He loves you. And never ever wake up feeling down or fed up. Because if you do feel a dip one day, you've got to go directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring difficulty on a new Muslim who He's chosen? He's chosen that particular person personally for Himself. With whatever has happened in his or her life, He's actually chosen that person. I always remember what that scholar said. And so what I try and do in my life, I had 40 years living in life as a non-Muslim. And I've worn a t-shirt, I've done it, I've seen it, I've taken it. And sadly I see Muslim youth now doing the same thing. And that now is reflecting on what we're now seeing in the prison service. And the only way for us as a Ummah is to get back to the Quran and the Hadith. We are seeing a resurgence, a movement. There is this desire for particularly the youth, that they want to start to learn, they want to get back onto the right path. But I honestly believe, and you've just got to open your eyes and see it now, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is punishing you and I, the Muslim Ummah. Forget about what's happening in the world. We are the ones to blame because we have veered off from the right path. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the scholars have said, are replacing us, replacing you with a new Muslim, a new nation, and a new people. And that new nation is rising now in the West. That is the new Muslim, be it white or black. And they are the ones that I truly believe that will take Islam forward, because they have the strength, they have the love, and they are committed to try and follow the Quran and Hadith. And you just got to look at it with the Muslim sisters. The amount of new Muslim sisters that are pouring into Islam across the whole world, single executives, business teachers, and they're wearing complete and even the national press were commenting and trying to work out why this was happening only a few months ago. And I've seen it also with my own eyes. Exactly.
So, brothers, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, inshallah.
If you convert to Islam, you find a transition of doing what you used to be, you used to be like really hard or required?
That's a good question. I mean, my music collection was extensive. And that was quite easy to, I remember one day I just got the bin liners and I just bagged everything up. Things going back 20 years, I just bagged everything up. I got my brand new stereo and I just smashed it up. That was quite easy. The biggest thing for me, I think, the thing that stood out for me that took me time was alcohol. And I never drank excessively, but the weekends I was out nightclubbing and so to deal with that, I had to wean myself. So I had to go on to non-alcoholic beer. I used to buy cans of it because I still wanted that flavour, that taste. And I literally would go and people were amazed, I'm buying crates of non-alcoholic beer. And I'm in my friends and they can't understand. I don't want to do it, I don't want a gin and tonic. No, I just want, to the point then that I couldn't deal with that taste. And then from there I went on to tea and coffee. So now I'm officially an addict to tea and coffee. I mean, I consume tea and coffee like I've gone to the other end now, maybe too much. But now if I walk, sometimes if I walk past a pub where I live, and they've experienced it like a stale smell, and it makes me want to vomit. Because I mean, it's a drug. And then you look at what's going on inside the pub, and so that's probably it was probably the most difficult thing that I try and wean myself off. But look, all human. I could still be in the car, I could still be tuning into Radio 4 or something, and I'd go through the dial, and suddenly a song would play, and that came back to what happened when I was dating so and so, or when I was in that part of the world, or when I was on holiday in Ibiza, or something like that. That's Shaitan. And Shaitan saying, "Whoa, hang on, just listen to that a little bit more." And you think, and you might be on a plane, up on a plane, and you put on headphones, and you go through the list, and you're natural, and you're weak. You're going to tune in a little bit. It might bring a few memories back. But we get back onto the one part. But I think what's sad for me, I think for the Muslim, the news, is that we've been through it, and we've seen it done in all the T-shirt. But what did it achieve? As they say, I probably had more girls than the ones had more hot dinners. But what did it achieve? It's organic nightclubs and being totally paralytic and flashy cars and I've had it and I've thrown it away. It hasn't achieved that. I've got what I want now. And money doesn't interest me, wealth doesn't interest me. And now I see the born Muslim, born Muslim, who feel for some reason around the world that they're missing out. That they see, the Western country youth, whatever, have got A, B, C, and D, and they feel that they want that. It's sad, and they're going down that same path that I've gone through, right, for 40 years. In some parts of the world now, in several Muslim countries, we have halal nightclubs. There's actually nightclubs called halal nightclubs. That's what we've got on the front, halal nightclub. We've got rave clubs in Cape Town, South Africa, where some scholars have done study. And there were alims and hafiz of the Quran that were going in there. And the DJ lines them all up. And the bodyguards outside ticks off who's a Muslim. But they know who's Muslim. And they line everyone up in sajda, and they start to prostrate with the music to Shaitan. And then they say, go in that restaurant there is the halal restaurant. So you go and have a meal, and that's where all the sex and all the stuff takes place. But it's halal. But by that time, they've put all the different drugs into you and all this sort of stuff. There's so much wrong going on out there, and I'm seeing it now with our Muslim youth. I'd say most of the youth that I'm dealing with in the prison service, with drugs, quite a few sexual crimes, rape, paedophilia. It's getting bad now with our own Muslim youth and elders. Robbery.
What inspired you from a Muslim?
Sorry?
What inspired you from a Muslim?
I've just been through it for about... We've been playing back on there. Yeah. It was a a long process.
What about the rest of the family? Are they Muslims?
Sorry.
The rest of the family? Are they Muslims? The family?
Finally. My mother and father passed away many years ago. My wife's Kenyan. We got married in Kenya. Obviously she's more Muslim and we've got a family. When I studied in South Africa, she also studied bachelor's. She's doing carrying on with her studies. The BBC done a documentary on my life last year, and I was explaining to them that the only family member that has disowned me is my brother, which is very sad. Made no contact with me. Never met my daughter, never met my wife. To the point that the BBC producer actually phoned him to say, he's even mentioned you on the film. He never. I tried to contact him so many times, but I think he just couldn't deal with the fact that his brother was Muslim. I'm still his brother. And so, I pray that inshallah that Allah will give me the daughter that he or his wife or his children will accept his hand.
How about those families who are just born, like they're born Muslim and they stop practicing, like they just born Muslim and the main one thing? What advice would you give them, like coming back to being, and what's the best way and how to deal with the issues they have in their families and what they're going through, their tribulation and everything? So, what's the best advice you could give to them?
But the first thing that is, that's a big subject. The first thing that the Muslim's got to do, if he or she hasn't been, in my opinion, if they haven't been following the deen, is because they've been infected and completely influenced by the wider society. And so, you have to work out why I'll move away from it. Is it because I've been sucked into the materialistic world and secularism, which is now the godless society? And if that is the case, then you've got to move away from it. A lot of the prisoners say to me, well, what's the point of me coming to pray when I get released here, I'm going to go back into my same environment and I'm going to be doing the same thing with the same people. So in the same thing, you've got to make hijrah. You've got to emigrate, haven't you? The earth is a massive place. And if the environment is not healthy for you, you can't practice your deen, or there's a possibility that you will be involved in haram, then you've got to move away. So that's the first thing, that you've got to work out why have I moved away from Islam? And then you've got to make that commitment. It is based on intention. If the intention is to correct yourself, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the doors for you. We keep asking ourselves, and scholars are saying, the Muslims are saying to the scholars, I'm making so much dua that it's not being answered. Why my dua is not being answered? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we listen to the scholars, the pious scholars, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not happy with us. Forget about what's going on in the world, He's not happy with us. This is a punishment on us. If you study the Quran and Hadith, you will see the punishment is on us. We're the ones that have moved away from the Quran and the Hadith. Alhamdulillah, from Adam alayhi salam up to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the prophets came at a time when the people moved away from the right path. And so the Prophet came to put people back onto the right path. But now we have to do that. And time's running out, brothers. I mean, the scholars are saying now that we're in the minor signs. The minor signs now of Qiyamah. Some scholars now are saying that the first sign, maybe even the second sign of the major signs has actually just happened. Some are saying, predicting that maybe our children will see the descent of Isa at less than that. So time's running out. You know, there is no success in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have a successful life. He's granted us this world before the next world. There's no harm in having a nice car, nice qualifications, nice clothes, a beautiful wife, nice, whatever. There's no harm in that as long as it's halal, but within moderation. But that's not going to save us in the grave. Only the shahada, recognizing the final messenger, and our 5 times prayer, that is the first bit. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, just declaring yourself Muslim doesn't guarantee success. Doing the 5 pillars doesn't guarantee success. Having a beard doesn't guarantee success. Doing 5 hajjs doesn't guarantee success. One scholar told me when he came back from Johannesburg airport, he gave a lecture there. He said, how many times is Hajj compulsory? We said, once. He said, so why do you hear Muslims screaming out and being very boastful that they've done 3 or 4 Hajjs, or 5 Hajjs? Very dangerous. Hajj is compulsory once. If you're on your 3rd and 4th Hajj, then you should make shukr to Allah, because maybe your first Hajj wasn't accepted, your second Hajj wasn't accepted, and through the love and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's given you another chance. How do we honestly know, here as brothers and sisters, that our Imam wasn't snatched away years ago, or yesterday, or 2 minutes ago? We don't know that. We could say we're Muslim, but we didn't know that. If our Imam wasn't snatched away. None of us know that. We only know what the outcome is when we leave this world, so we've got to keep working. It's only true believers that will find success. So, if the environment is not healthy, you've got to get away from it. You've got to find the pious personalities, and they're all over the world, and you've got to find them. They're not going to illuminate themselves and say, I'm the pious personality, you come and sit with me. The people that I've found, that you'll just walk in the street and you're passing. But these personalities are there at all times, and you've got to go and find them, you've got to seek them. And how do you know if they're the right person? Because ask people, tell me about this person. I see him. Does he follow the Sunnah? Does he follow the Quran? I don't know. Go and live with him. Because he might be in the first saf in the masjid, but he might be kicking the head out of his wife and children at home. Why don't you go and live with him? So just go and live with him for a week and see if he is really practicing the Quran and Sunnah. Then you'll soon realise this is the person I want to learn from and to actually be with. And these are the people that lead in a simple way. And then you need to get back onto the right track. You all here learning degrees, alhamdulillah. It's important. But that won't save you. Without guilt. The first knowledge that we should all seek is Islamic knowledge. We have to understand what is the message of the Quran and the Hadith. If we study the Quran and the Hadith, that will tell us what's happened in the past. It will definitely tell us what is happening globally now. And it explains what's going to happen in the future as well. And we can't isolate the Quran from the Hadith, the Sunnah. We have to put them both together. we're seeing youth dying all the time. We hope that we all live to a great age, but we don't know when we're going to die. And again, the scholars say that the last one that you should recite before you go to sleep is the kalima. It should be moist on your lips. And though 75%, 80% of the Muslim Ummah aren't even performing their 5 times salah. I said to the brother here that when he was explaining that in your prayer room you were allocated a massive room, but now that's being reduced. Although, because, why has it been reduced? But in the Juma time, I've been told that the brothers are having to spread it onto the outside of the room. But maybe if you guys fill that space that you had 5 times a day and show the chaplain here and the rest of the people that you need that space, then they give you it. The world knows that the Muslims aren't praying 5 times a day. If we fill the masjids at Fajr like we do at Juma, then the world will take note. What the scholars are saying is we are now part-time Muslims. Part-time Muslims need to become full-time Muslims. In the masjid, we're first in, first out. We should be first in, last out. And as they say, that Islam started in the hadith, that Islam, Islam started as something very strange. And is now returning to something very strange. We are like a square peg trying to go into a round hole. We look strange. We don't fit into society in what we wear. We can cover up, like what you're doing, you can cover up, but they know who you are. So why cover up? I shave a beard off, I want to blend in. We haven't got a chance. Why? Who are you hiding from? Be proud, because they know who you are. You've got nothing to hide. Today it is acceptable to walk in the street naked, but it's laughable for a woman in hijab to walk the street covered up. In this country, going back to the 18th and 19th century, everyone had a beard. It was top notch if you had a beard. And now when our babies are born, they don't know whose mum. Is it mum or is it dad? The beard is the distinguishing feature, it's wajib. Across all of, if you follow the school of thought, it's wajib across all the thought of the school of thought. Be proud that you Muslim. Put it in your heart. Then, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help the Muslim woman. And this is where, because we're not moving forward, the new people are coming in, the new nation is coming in, and the sun is rising now in the West. The new Muslim. This is why it's becoming the fastest religion now in the world, because the new Muslim is now coming in. And the so-called born Muslim, you've got to now reunite, join hands with the new Muslim and support them and help them. Because they will be the ones, I guarantee you, that will take Islam forward. One more question.
Have we got any Muslim brothers here? If there was something. Have you got any questions to ask? So what would you say to a brother who's not Muslim, who just came to, have an experience of this book? Because, you've went through the process of, converting back to Islam, and if you could advise anything you would say to help us follow to the right path,
To get back onto what?
to get that
Yeah, as I was saying, I spent 40 years living the life as a non-Muslim, and I've done it, I've worn a t-shirt. I think I've done just about everything apart from hard drugs. And I'm seeing now what is happening to our youth, particularly now within the prison service. Because we think that life is much more greener on the other side. But we're in a godless society, a godless world now. And you've got to remember that, go back to the very beginning, when Shaitan refused to prostrate to in the very beginning. And when Shaitan refused to prostrate, that's when the last time was given respite to Shaitan. And Shaitan said, I will come on the left and the right and above and behind. So everything that's happened in the world is coming from Shaitan. And Shaitan's loving it if you're not following deen. He's loving it. The last thing he wants you to do is to come back onto deen. As I said to you, we've got to get back onto the right path because we're in the mind of something is now occurring. So I said to you, someone's got to say that the greater signs have now happened or are now happening. And so time is now running out. There's no success in the materialistic life. I've been with famous people, I've been with people down and out, I've been with so many people in the world, I've travelled the world. People have got everything, but people are crying out for the purpose of life. There's a book that I've seen outside called The Purpose of Life. People are committing suicide. Football stars, Hollywood stars, are committing suicide. They've got everything. They've got the most attractive girlfriend in the world. They've got the Porsche, but they're committing suicide. They're taking drugs. They're trying to engage with any other idol form of worship, but there's the missing link. And you've got it. You had it when you were born. And so you are privileged. You go to your parents' house, it's there in gold letters. And so in my life, with respect, I'm not worried about you guys, because you've got it. In a nice way, I haven't got time for the Muslims. It's the rest of the world that I need to work on, because they're the ones that are going to ask us, why didn't you tell me about Islam? I live next door to you. You never told me. The simple fact is, if we don't want to give up onto the right path, then it's one for one. We have to face the consequences. So with respect, and I'm not being in a nasty way, I haven't got time for you. I haven't got time for Muslims. They're my brothers and sisters. I love them. But the focus has got to be on the rest of the world. We've got to give them the message. It should have come from you guys, but it hasn't. And you've just got to look and you sit down with the scholars and they're saying, yeah, we're being punished now, and we're being punished because Islam started in Arabia and it was taken away from them, and it went as far as Central Asia and India, and now they're abusing it, and now it's been taken away from them. And now it's rising up as a new nation. Study the Quran. A new nation is rising up, and they're the ones that will now take it a step further. And you guys can either be part of it or not be part of it. But you know it. Go home, as I said to you. Talk to your parents. It's there in gold letters. But we can't force it down. You've got two paths to take. One, or you think you can hide by wearing clothes like this and black beards and mixing in. The world's laughing at you. The world's laughing at us. We're the ones that we should be standing and proud. Because we know in our hearts that we're on the right path. We're close. Does that give you time? Thank you.